Happy Friday, Spooky Soulmates. We have an untitled at this moment episode coming at you today. We're really not sure what we're going to call it, so you'll know.
Okay, we got our wires crossed, so to speak, and I went kind of like the unsolved oddities route, and Rachel went with, what was yours?
Like quirky haunted places.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting because neither of us know what the other did.
It'll be strange. That's all that you need to know.
Which will probably be in the title. Because
Indeed.
That's the only thing we know.
So before we jump right into it,
I need to tell you about my week.
I would love to hear about your week. In fact, I was just going to ask, how was your week?
What a coinky-dink. So we celebrated, and if anybody who's friends with us knows Todd. He's the one that we're doing the stream with. He just had a birthday. He turned the big 3-0. Mm-hmm. And so we went out to K-pop. Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it, but Kaila, as you know, I am not cool enough, nor young enough and hip enough to understand these things.
Okay, so K-pop is a Korean barbecue place. And that, like, Korean barbecue is not like any other barbecue. It's its own thing. Basically, you sit down around a stove and you order like 2 plates of meat at a time and you cook it yourself and you pay one rate and you can get as much meat as you want.
Oh, man. I mean, I would love to get all that meat. That sounds delicious, Kaila.
Oh, well, my husband sure loved it.
Tell me about DP's meat obsession. I would love to hear about that also.
So I think we probably went through 15 to 16 plates of meat. I'm not even joking.
Take a shot, everybody, every time we say meat.
Yeah, seriously. And, you know, I filled up pretty fast because, like, there's a baby in there. There's not a lot of room.
Not a lot of room for meat right now, just in general. Sure.
And so then I don't know why my voice did that. Getting a little hot in here, all this meat talk. So anyway, the next day, I woke up feeling like crap. It was just, I've been sick for like 5 weeks straight.
You had the meat sweats.
No, I did not. I just didn't sleep well. I've been sick. And I woke up just like angry at the world. My husband, however, woke up feeling the greatest he's felt in like years. And when my husband feels good, he gets super duper hyper. He talks really, really fast. Mm-hmm. He bounces from subject to subject. He has ADHD. It's like undiagnosed, but I know he does.
Yeah.
So we're like driving around to church and then coming home. And he's just like about everything. And I literally was so tempted to just like stick a pillow over his face and be like, shh, go quiet.
And this week on Snapped.
I know. I was like, now I get the true crime episodes. Yeah. So I told him, I was like, I'm leaving the house and you're just going to have to shut up because I can't take this anymore. It was so annoying. He's like, maybe I just need to eat a lot of meat. Maybe I just need like iron and meat. I mean, it was just like over.
A
yes.
A lot. Yeah.
So it was a bad day for me. But a great day for my husband.
Yeah, and a happy belated birthday, Todd.
Yes, happy belated birthday.
Well, that's great.
Now we're going to go there for every birthday for Joe, I'm sure.
I mean, every special occasion because he feels so good afterwards. Good for him. That's great.
So how was your week?
My week was good.
Do you remember?
Yes, I'm thinking back. Well, a big thing did happen. As you guys know, or may know, I got a kitten recently named Lulu. And she's really great. She's fun. But, you know, I just missed the snuggliness that I had of my old cat. I feel like such an old person talking about cats all the time. I am a crazy cat lady. So anyway, I am a type A personality with 5 animals in the house. Okay. So I have, yeah. Well, okay. So spoiler, I got another cat. All right. So I went to the shelter and I accidentally fell in love with a little cat named Lennon, and he is a month older than Lulu, so they're just about the same age. They get along really well. He's very snuggly, but also very hyper because they're both kittens. And so he also throws up all the time, which is stressing me out, man.
And I wonder, I was like, the only way he would be a problem is if he throws up all the time. I had a cat that did that. He lived for like 18 years and threw up every day.
Dude.
And then like the day after, Lennon just starts puking.
Every day. And like I said, I'm a type A person with 5 animals. I've got 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a hamster. The hamster is self-contained. He's fine. My son cleans out his cage and he's well taken care of. But I don't like messes, so I clean out their litter box every day, or litter boxes. I like defur every day. Like I go insane. And so now I, in addition, have to clean up cat puke every day. And it's really, really messing with my head.
Well, tonight I walk in and she's like, I have to clean the sofa.
The stupid cat puked on the sofa. So I did talk to my friend that knows a lot about cats, and I was like, look, what do I do? And she gave me some good tips, but I think I need to like take him into the vet and be like, what is wrong with this thing?
My cat, the only thing we could figure out was either it was long hair and he just had fur balls.
Oh, sure.
Or he was bulimic, because that thing, like, he looked fluffy. If you actually like smoothed him down, he was probably like an inch.
Yeah. Well, you know, aside from that, he's a great cat.
He literally lays on her chest and makes biscuits in her neck.
A little biscuits. So cute. Sometimes I'm like shocked that people listen to us.
I know, right?
Like after this conversation.
Korean barbecue and cat biscuits.
After this conversation right here, I'm like, wow.
Thanks for listening, guys.
we actually have listeners, right? People care about this? I'm sure you don't. You're just like, get to the content, man. Seriously. So we're just going to do that. We're going to hop in. All right. Well, real quick, you guys know where to find us. The Good Luck Sleeping Podcast on Facebook, GL Sleeping on Twitter, Good Luck Sleeping Podcast on Instagram. Our website is goodlucksleeping.libsyn.com. And if you want to send us any true stories, paranormal, true crime, anything of that
creepy
category, mysterious, send them to our Gmail, please. We really need some more stories for our listeners' episodes, and that is goodlucksleepingpodcast@gmail.com. So send those in. I did it for Kaila. Usually is the one that rocks that out, but I just thought I'd take one for the team.
Well, my voice keeps going, so it's really good that you did that.
Oh, that's right. All right, speaking of which, Kaila, why don't you start us?
Cool.
We had planned that previously, guys. I'm not a monster.
And I apologize if I have to like stop and cough every so often. It's been my life. Okay. So like I said, I did like unsolved oddities, things that are like creepy or weird, but nobody really knows what actually happened.
Okay.
The first one was actually brought to our attention through the podcast group, the Facebook podcast group.
Yes.
And it is known as the Mannequin House. Technically, it's called the John Lawson House. It's located just outside of New York City in a town called Hamburg, I think.
Okay.
It was built in 1845, and it was one of the only houses left standing when a fire burnt down the entire block in 1877. And then back in 1871, a train that was nearby the house crashed and killed nearly 22 people.
Oh.
So a lot of death around this house. Okay. So it kind of like started to, perpetrate the rumor that the house might be haunted. So it's believed that the house may be haunted, and these mannequins represented those 2 tragedies and are possibly even possessed by the souls of the dead. No one knows who owns the house. That's what's so crazy. There's never anybody coming or going. They never see them living there. However, on any given day, there are a number of mannequins dressed up and posed on the front porch. The number changes from day to day, and so do their outfits and the activities that they're doing.
So weird.
Some quirky objects that accompany them include a cut-up plastic milk container containing potpourri.
Okay.
Super odd. It has changed location from one day to another. A slingshot hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
An empty bird cage.
Oh.
And a white stool/box containing a brush and a small white towel.
Oh.
I don't know why. At night, you can see a light through the kitchen curtains, and there's a vegetable garden that is kept up in the back.
So it obviously has to belong to somebody. Like somebody's doing this every day.
And on rainy days, the mannequins disappear inside, but nobody ever sees a human being do any of this.
Huh.
Is that not bizarre?
Is it like kind of by itself on some land?
No, it's like a street.
Oh, how weird.
Like people can drive down the street right next to it. I'll pull up a picture.
What if you lived next to it?
Well, people do. And the people that have lived next to it have never seen anything.
That's so weird.
I know.
I don't know, like, okay, like, let's say one of their neighbors' houses was for sale, and, like, you go in and tour the house, and, like, you see that next door there's just all these fake people hanging out on the front porch. I'd be like,
curb appeal? No.
I think I'm going to pass.
I'll have to pull up a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mannequins have been posed to face two significant directions. There's only one other original house on the street, and then the Hudson River. So some of them are looking toward that other original house, and then the other one is looking toward the Hudson River. It's believed that those who face the abandoned house may be the ones possessed by the souls of those who died in the fires, and the one who faced the river may be a soul that died in the train accident. Someone actually did research into the house, and you know how you can, like, look on Zillow and stuff to see, like, sales and stuff?
Previously sold for, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As of August 26th... Oh, I'll just talk about the Zillow thing first. Okay, so I want to quote, like, I want to give credit to this person. So her name is Lucia, and she posted an article on theghostandmymachine.com, and she's the one who did all the research. She dug into it, and she said that the house was bought and sold... it was bought in 2002 and sold in 2015. In 2015, the mannequins disappeared and moved to a different house. So she's thinking that the people who bought it in 2002 are the ones that did it all the way through to 2015.
Okay.
And then when they moved houses, they took the mannequins with them. It doesn't list who bought them. No one knows why they did this, though. Like, there's theories that they intended to flip the house, but they wanted to, like, build up a mystery behind it to make it, like, super appealing. Right?
I don't know if they went down the right path for that. But
I know.
right.
Well, the people who bought it, as of August 2016, they flipped it, and it's like, so it was running around like the $200,000 to $300,000 price range. Now it's like $600,000. So either they did a ton of renovations, or they tried to, like, play off the history of it.
Sure.
It's just strange that people were never seen. There were no cars in the driveway, no one coming and going. Like, when did they get groceries?
Right.
You know, so let me find a picture.
Well, they grew their own produce in the back.
Yeah, but
they
like,
lived off the land.
I mean, I guess they could have been vegetarians. This is the front of the house. You can see there's a house right next to it. Oh. It's literally
it's
like...
a lot more modern looking than I pictured it.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't have the mannequins on the front porch.
Yeah.
There's the mannequins on the front porch. And I'll post pictures. I'll find them.
Okay.
And post
Yeah,
them
that
in the
looks a
group.
little bit more how I pictured it.
But I'll post the pictures of the mannequins, like, posed. Like, some of them will be reading a book.
Interesting. Okay.
And they change their clothes every day. And somebody did find the mannequins at another house on the porch, but it was further back from the road, and they did not want to disclose the new location.
Oh.
I guess just for, like, that person's privacy sake. I'm like, they're putting mannequins on the porch.
Yeah,
I don't think they care about privacy.
Yeah, I think they're ready to be out there.
So yeah, that's the John Lawson house.
Interesting. I wish that, like, something had been found out about, like, the owners of mannequins.
But it's kind of cool just wondering and
speculating. It is. Yeah. Interesting. All right, cool. My first house, because they're both houses, is called the House on the Rock. Have you ever heard of the House on the Rock?
I have not.
Okay. So I've been there. Ryan and I, well, my husband and I, were married all the way back in 2006. And I think it was for our year anniversary, we were dirt poor. And when I say dirt poor, I mean, like, we would have to sell. Have you ever heard of, like, Plato's Closet?
Yes.
Okay. We would sell our clothes and our things to Plato's Closet in order to have money for food. Like,
oh my God.
We were so poor. And anyway, but we still wanted to celebrate our anniversary. So one day, when we both had off work, we just started driving. And we lived pretty close to the Wisconsin border. And we just started driving, you know, down the pretty roads. And we came across a sign that said House on the Rock, this many miles this way. Okay. And we're like, House on the Rock? What is that? And this was, I think, back in the day when, like, you couldn't really Google things.
Yeah.
Because it would take up your data. So we were just like, I guess let's check it out. Seems to be an attraction. Why not? So we scrunched together. You know, we made sure we had enough money to do this and went up there, bought our tickets, and we toured this house. And I'm not joking when I say, like, remember when I was telling you about Raven's Grin and, like, just the feeling that you get? It was almost worse at the House on the Rock. Like,
oh my gosh,
it just felt off. you're going through this house and it's very like Japanese-esque, like the architecture is kind of Japanesey, and like I describe a little bit more of the architecture in my notes here, but it's out of place where it's at. And the man that lived there, he collected things his whole time that he lived there, and it's kind of like a hoarder's house, but like an organized hoarder's house. Okay, like he had,
sure,
he
like
has,
like he knows where everything is.
well, like each room had a theme.
Oh, well, that's like my grandma's house. That lady has more plates.
Oh,
Like decorative plates,
That's
you know?
nice.
And she's got like the little egg holders and like
Oh.
spoons.
spoons.
It's like an antique store. It's weird.
That's cute. This wasn't cute. This was terrifying. So I'm gonna just kind of get into it, but I've been to this one, so I kind of thought it was cool to talk about. So this is a quote by J. Nathan Couch, and he says that one cannot properly explain the House on the Rock experience to someone who has never been. I liken it to explaining what sexual intercourse feels like to a virgin, or what a near-death experience is like to someone who's never so much as broken a bone. It's impossible. Still, one has to make the attempt. This house is so bizarre. This is moving on from Nathan. This house is so bizarre, in fact, that Neil Gaiman, who is the
One
author
of your favorite authors.
Yes, author of Coraline, The Graveyard Book, all that. He described it as an otherworldly portal in an acclaimed novel of his called American Gods. And there's like, I think it's on Amazon Prime, American Gods.
Is that like a show?
Yeah, that's based off of his book and his
sounds
novel.
familiar.
And this place is talked about there, obviously, because it's in his novel. So it's just crazy. It's a crazy place. So in 1960, Alex Jordan opened his dream house, built atop a chimney of rock to the public. Over the years, Alex expanded his vision beyond the house and collected and built on a massive scale. What began as a lofty retreat with an awe-inspiring view has become a spectacular attraction known as the House on the Rock.
Please tell me you have pictures, because I'm having such a hard time visualizing
I do. Do you want to see a picture first before I get
Yes.
into it? Okay, hold on here.
You know I'm a visual person.
I know.
I also pictured just like Lemony Snicket style, like this house and this thin, I think it's Lemony Snicket.
Okay,
This thin column.
so this is the house. It's very Japanesey.
It is so strange. That looks like it should be in Fortnite.
There's an infinity walk there, like an infinity hallway. It's literally like a glass hallway.
That's a big no.
that goes off over the treetops.
No.
This is some of the insides. Okay, like some of his rooms.
That's crazy.
I'll show you more pictures, but it is just so bizarre. Okay, let me get back to my notes.
I'm
here.
getting like Coraline vibes from that.
Exactly. Well, I think that's why I think Neil Gaiman traveled there and went there, and he's like, dude, this is...
You can't make this shit up.
Exactly. Okay. The house itself is atop Deer Shelter Rock, a column of rock that's about 60 to 70 feet in the air. It stands by a nearby forest. Additions were made to the original structure and other buildings added over the course of several decades. The complex now features the house streets of yesterday, a recreation of early 20th century American town, the heritage of the sea, featuring nautical exhibits, and a 200-foot model of a fanciful sperm whale-like creature. Its mouth is open like it's about to eat you also.
Interesting.
Yes.
Whales don't eat people.
Well, in that house, it does. They do. The music of yesterday, a huge collection of automatic music machines.
Oh, no, those are never good.
That are known to go off by themselves. And what management bills as the world's largest indoor carousel, among other attractions. So,
is that what you showed me the picture of?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Many of the bathrooms are decorated with strange objects, including mannequins, flowers, and preserved animals.
Oh, yeah, because nothing says, I want to take a poo, like a mannequin staring at you from the shower.
Yeah. So Jordan sold the house in 1988 to a friend who continued building on the site, adding collections of knickknacks and exhibits featuring authentic pieces, reproductions, and specialty made examples of everything. The most recent addition is the Spirit of Aviation, a collection of large model airplanes in a themed room. Another exhibit, the Transportation Building, is under construction.
Oh, it's like Disney World. He's just constantly building and adding.
Dude, it's just weird. So, okay.
So is this place like haunted?
Yes.
Or is it just strange?
Both.
Okay.
I have a couple of lists Okay, so I found this article that describes the House on the Rock better than I could possibly ever describe it. And it's called The Unintentional Horror and Camp of the House on the Rock by Christopher Muther. Spring Green, Wisconsin is where he's writing from. I'm not sure which was more frightening, the endless yards of asthma-inducing blood-red shag carpet, the 200-foot whale-like sea monster fighting a giant squid, or the endless rooms of dolls attired in Victorian garb with blank, soul-sucking stares. One of these toy tableaus depicted a doll funeral, with Lucifer himself ominously hovering. You see, I told you dolls were evil. And just when I thought it couldn't get any more macabre, it was time to send in the clowns. Clowns everywhere with sinister grins lurking in the dark. Ghostly automated orchestras and thundering calliops filled otherwise quiet dark corners. Dead trees sprouted from the floor and cast horror film shadow across the displays. It sounds impossible, but all these wonders are contained in one massive attraction, the House on the Rock, located in an otherwise pastoral stretch of Wisconsin. It is in the middle of nowhere. Like when we were driving there, we were like, oh my God.
That's seriously so cool.
Where is it? So there is a popular but sadly untrue myth that the House on the Rock was inspired by an interaction between Jordan and Frank Lloyd Wright. Their architecture is very similar, like with this house. So whose austere Taliesin is a 10-minute drive from Jordan's place of panic. So he's got a building close by. The fable goes something like this. Jordan showed Wright plans for the building he designed, hoping his idol would approve. Instead, Wright snapped and said, I wouldn't hire you to design a cheese grate or a chicken coop. Jordan, furious, swore to build a house intending to either mock or upstage Wright. The story is fiction, but I think Jordan succeeded in doing both. Although there's a little bit more here. Although the interior of House on the Rock looks as if it were designed by Tim Burton to prompt nightmares and chronic bedwetting among young children and sometimes adults. Jordan didn't sound particularly crazy, according to what I've read. So, anyway, it's just crazy. There's a lot more, but I wanted to give you the gist. I also found some reviews on, what is this on? Travel, what's it called? So I'm going to end with a few reviews that I got from a popular travel website because I just liked reading what people thought going through this. I mean, you pay a good amount of money to walk through this crazy house.
Is it like tripsomething.org?
Yes.
TripAdvisor,
yes. These are from TripAdvisor. So this one was from 2012, and it's entitled Entering the Twilight Zone. Nothing will prepare you for this. Love it or hate it, it's a totally unique experience. The creator of The House on the Rock, Alex Jordan, was a cross between Dr. Parnassus? Yep. And Willy Wonka with a bit of Esker thrown in.
Sure. I know Willy Wonka.
I'm butchering this. Goodness knows how he afforded it. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to know too. I couldn't find much on how he could afford all of this. But this nigh endless labyrinth of nested craziness is a master of mad genius. An artist and an obsessive collector, his imagination was left unfettered and badly curated for 40 years. The resulting mess is an incredible glimpse into a very unusual mind. Indeed, I almost felt like I was walking through a dream version of Alex Jordan's brain.
I bet that the attraction itself started to pay for itself after the first couple of rooms.
That's true. Yeah.
Because there was actually, I don't remember where I watched it, but they had this like crazy looking house and they just set up a couple of rooms. And then anybody who would come through and tour those, they would take that money and put it into developing the next room.
Okay. Well, so, maybe. Yeah. I don't know
Economics.
when tours started. Yeah, but that could
Can't manage my own finances, but I can tell you how other people do theirs.
He goes on to say, about 2/3 of the way through, I felt like I'd stepped into an alternate dimension, or perhaps Dante's circles of hell, and I may never be able to leave. The first time I felt true awe in years. I can see how Neil Gaiman was inspired to write about this place as a divine portal in his novel American Gods. Go with an open mind.
And possibly Coraline.
Yes. This one is from Jen Ray 1980, and this was from 2014. Not what I expected. Dark and strange. We recently visited with our good friends. The ladies in my party, including myself, walked away with a dark, scary perception. The guys thought it was very interesting and enjoyed it. Do not go if you're claustrophobic. I wish the tour was guided or that it was offered as an option.
It's so creepy. Like you just wander
You just
through.
wander.
And if you get lost, oh well.
I know, for real though. Like it's so crazy. And
they'll find you when you start to smell.
Yes. All right, last review from Lynn F 1318 in 2013. Don't take your children to this scary house. The house on the rock is amazing. That being said, it is only amazing if you like weird and creepy. It's a dark, winding house filled with dolls, half-naked angel mannequins. Oh yeah, there's a whole room of mannequins with wings.
Like, and no clothes?
No, just hanging from the ceiling. It's
cool.
Messed up. And instruments that play themselves. It is the stuff nightmares are made of. This is not a place for young children. I'm an adult and found this place creepy. I was shocked to see how many families thought it was a good idea to bring their 4-year-olds here. I think the 4-year-olds felt the same because most of them were crying.
Oh my God.
It also takes 4 to 5 hours to walk through the house. Their site says 3.5, but that's only if you run and don't look at anything. So,
which they probably did.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the house on the rock. I can't explain it to you because it would be like trying to explain sexual intercourse to a virgin, Kaila. I just can't do it.
Oh, you say that to the one who's...
Jesus.
You say that to the 34-week pregnant woman. Like, I'm the virgin. Are you okay?
Yeah, Kaila.
Sorry, I was queuing up a video
Kaila
for
just
my next
scared
story.
me with a video.
Remember, Rachel doesn't handle jump scares
I
very
don't.
well.
No.
By this point, you will probably have seen our stream and know this.
Yes. No. So, yeah, that's a wrap. But
That was really interesting. Now I want to go there.
it's really worth going to. If you live in, anywhere near that area within a couple of hours, check it out, man. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Okay, so my next oddity is from Reddit. The wonderful world of Reddit.
I love Reddit.
Yeah, and the guy's name is Bing Bong 1234. Okay, so this is called The Whistler. It is unexplainable, creepy, and 100% true. He also has video evidence, which is what just scared the crap out of you.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm just going to read
The
his story.
Whistler. Is this a thing?
Just wait.
I want to know.
Okay, so I'm going to read his story real quick because it's just his tale, like
Sure.
what has happened. Okay, so when he was 8 years old, I said I was going to read his story and then I started paraphrasing. When I was about 8 years old, I was taking my dog for a walk through the neighborhood with my mom. It was maybe 11 p.m. We live next to a swamp/woods area on the edge of our neighborhood in Lansing, Michigan. I remember it being very silent and slightly windy. From down in the swamp, we heard somebody whistling at us. It sounded sort of like a bird, but each whistle was different enough where the lack of consistency made it human-like. The whistle sounded higher, then lower. I can't really describe it. My mom had a concerned, slightly terrified look on her face and grabbed my hand and said that we should go inside quickly. I didn't understand because I was too young, but seeing my mom freak out made me freak out too. After a while, though, I kind of forgot about it. 2 years later, I was taking my dog out again late at night. There's a large bush that could easily obscure a person behind it just next to the front door. As I was finishing the walk, the whistling noise started again. Same pitches, same inconsistent human-like tones. As soon as I heard it, a chill went down my spine as I remembered exactly the feeling of seeing my mom, terrified, looking down into the swamp at something I couldn't see. Maybe she couldn't either. I ran inside as fast as possible. Years went by, and I thought about it less and less. I told only a handful of people, and eventually it slipped from my mind. Fast forward to last summer. I'm 24, started dating my girl, Sarah. We moved out to South Dakota.
My girl, Sarah.
Right? We moved out. At least he's affectionate.
Yeah.
We moved out to South Dakota for work. For Independence Day, we decided to go to Pierre, South Dakota, and watch the fireworks along the bank of the Missouri River. There was a free camping spot behind a hospital where you could pitch your tent, hang out, and see the fireworks up the river. We were near the end of the campground, and there were very few people around us. As it was getting dark, the fireworks began. They were pretty far away, so the illumination they brought was very little. Thus, we had to sit right at the edge of the river to be able to see them. A huge thunderhead was moving in and a storm was imminent, so the air seemed electric and the wind was picking up. He got a little fancy there, but...
Oh, yeah. Wow. What poetic.
The atmosphere was eerie, to say the least. The police boats herded all the other boats off of the river and had left our area to do that elsewhere. So there was nothing on the river.
Okay.
That's his point. Most of the other campers walked up the river to have a better view of the fireworks. But Sarah and I stayed back and were drinking PBR Tall Boys, which I guess is alcohol, because I don't
beer.
drink. Cool.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
And hanging out. Suddenly, we heard the sound of a paddle methodically dipping into the water. We saw a figure steering a canoe about 20 meters offshore. Sarah decided to go get more beers from the car, leaving me alone to stare at this mystery person. And then, of course, they whistled at me.
Oh.
My entire body was frozen and covered in goosebumps. It was the exact same whistler from my childhood, more than a decade earlier. I looked at the figure, but it was too dark to discern who it could be. They were wearing a hat, and when they were perpendicular to the shore from me, they stopped paddling, turned the canoe to face directly at me, and whistled. I was so frightened, I stood up and shouted at them, "Who are you?" They didn't say anything, just whistled a couple more times, turned the canoe 180 degrees, and paddled out of sight. Now, for people who don't want to watch the video right now, I'm going to imitate the whistle if I can. I'm not a good whistler.
On board with this. Let's do it.
So, did that give you chills?
No. But I think the video will.
Yeah, it's so creepy. So, let's see. He's a videographer, so he already had his camera by his side, and he was taking videos of the fireworks. So he picked it up and kind of held it down at his side, but was recording so that the guy couldn't.
So this
whatever
is
it was.
True. Like,
yeah, like this is legit footage.
Like not just mocked up to seem like it's true, like Blair Witch style.
No.
Okay.
All right. So it's gonna probably be loud, but
do I need to see it or?
You don't need to see it. Okay. Notice how it's far away.
Yeah.
It gets closer as he moves farther away.
Are those gunshots?
No, it's fireworks. Remember?
Oh, fireworks stuff. Oh.
That was him asking his girlfriend, "Are you doing that? Stop." Even with all that going on, you can still hear it perfectly. Okay, so he posted that on Reddit, and he said, "How did this whistling person follow me after 14 years all the way to South Dakota? Was it a coincidence? Why was it the same whistling noise? Who was that person and where did they go? So many questions still unanswered. To this day, I'm more afraid of being outside in the dark where I might hear that whistling again. I'm open to any explanations." Okay, so underneath the post, this guy from another country was like, "Dude, this is crazy, but in my country, there's this like legend about a whistler."
Okay.
So it's called the Silbón. El Silbón. It's a whistler, and it's a legendary figure in Colombia and Venezuela, associated especially with Los Ñoños, described as a lost soul. The legend arose sometime in the middle of the 19th century. Basically, according to the legend, the spirit is a youth who murdered and disemboweled his father for killing his wife, saying that she was a slut and that she was asking for it. Afterwards, his grandfather ordered the youth to be tied to a post in the middle of the countryside and lashed him until his back was destroyed. His wounds were then cleaned with alcohol, and he was released with 2 rabid, starving dogs set upon him. Before releasing him, his grandfather condemned him to carry the bones of his father for all of eternity. It has a characteristic whistle that resembles the music notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B in that order, rising in tone to F, then lowering to B. It is said when the whistling sounds close, there's no danger, and the whistler is far away. But when the whistling sounds distant, like it did in the beginning, it means it is nearby. It also said that hearing the whistling foretells your own death, and you can hear it anywhere at any time. So even with the storm rolling in and the fireworks, you can hear that clearly.
Is the original poster okay?
I don't know. He never posted after that.
Are you okay? Are you out there?
Bing bong! What happened to you? Bing bong!
Bing bong!
So anyway, I just thought that was crazy that there was like an urban legend that he never knew about because it was from Colombia.
Yeah, with
and
the same
he is in America.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but that freaked me out.
Wow.
I know.
That gave me chills.
I know. Me too.
That's way more creepy than any of the things that I
got
have.
really creeped out when I was like doing my research. I was like, I don't like it.
Whistling is just creepy anyway. Like
if I'm hearing it by choice, does that mean I'm foretelling my own death?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. It has to be live and in person.
Okay. It has to follow me, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, guess what, Rachel?
What? I don't want to be surprised. Okay. My next and last little portion here is on the Winchester Mystery House. Have you ever heard of this one?
Of course.
Okay. So the Winchester Mystery House is an architectural wonder and historic landmark in San Jose, California that was once the personal residence of Sarah Lockwood Pardee Winchester, the widow of William Wirt Winchester, and heiress to a large portion of the Winchester repeating arms fortune. tragedy befell Sarah. Her infant daughter died of a childhood illness, and a few years later, she lost her husband by tuberculosis. So she had a lot of tragedy. It was very sad. So this kind of, I think, spiraled and pushed her towards what she did next.
Right.
Shortly after her husband's death, Sarah left their home in New Haven, Connecticut, and moved out west to San Jose, California. There, she bought an 8-room farmhouse and began what could only be described as the world's longest home renovation, stopping only when Sarah passed away, September 5th of 1922. This is all from the WinchesterMysteryHouse.com, so this is from the official site.
Yeah.
From 1886 to 1922, construction seemingly never ceased as the original 8-room farmhouse grew into the world's most unusual and sprawling mansion. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
It features 24,000 square feet, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 160 rooms, 52 skylights, 47 stairways and fireplaces, 17 chimneys, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens. So she built the house at a price tag of $5 million at completion, but that was in 1923.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So it would equal to about $71 million today.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah. So I moved on to an article from mentalfloss.com, which is 14 haunting facts about the Winchester Mystery House. I'm not going to do all 14, just a few of the best. Many believe Sarah built the house out of fear. Overcome with grief in the wake of her husband's death from tuberculosis in 1881, folklore states that Sarah sought out a spiritualist who could commune with the dead. While she was presumably looking for solace or closure, she was instead given a chilling warning. Through the medium, William told his widow that their tragedies, the couple had only one child, a daughter named Annie, who died at 6 weeks old, were a result of the blood money the family had made off the Winchester rifles. He warned that vengeful ghosts would seek her out, and in order to protect herself, William said that Sarah must, quote-unquote, build a home for herself and for the spirits who have fallen from this terrible weapon. Sarah was advised to leave their home in New Haven and moved west, where she would build a grand home for the spirits, blah, blah, blah. There was another catch. Construction on the house could never stop, not night or day. It had to just keep going forever. And if you continue building, you will live, the medium warned. But
those labor costs, though.
I know. But stop and you will die. So the construction went on for 38 years, day and night.
Did it end
crazy?
With her death?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, when you get up there in age, is it really even worth it anymore?
I mean, no.
I think at that point, it was guilt and
all
habit.
This stress. Yeah. I mean, and maybe she had like a little bit of paranoia, OCD, obviously, that just kept her going with this. And in the house, it wasn't just built out of usefulness. Like, she would build hallways or have hallways built that would just like go into a wall, or doors that would open into nothing.
There's a famous stairwell that just goes up to a ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess she didn't really have much communication with anybody except for her foreman and the workers in the house. And I think she had maids and, just people that would cater to her.
Maids to clean the stairwell that went nowhere.
Can you imagine them cleaning, just being like, oh, it's late. Nobody ever comes here anyway except for the workers. Anyway, so she had a very lonely life. I can't imagine, what heartache that she had gone through. But every morning she would talk with the foreman and just talk about her plans and kind of just keep her vision going. And the foreman just said, I'm sure he was just like, dude, I guess if you just keep paying me, I'll do whatever you want. So anyway, nobody knows exactly how many rooms there are, but they think there's about 160 or 161.
They've never had somebody just go through and like catalog it.
I think because it's such a labyrinth and so messed up inside that people just get lost. I don't know.
Or get scared.
Yeah.
Zach Bagans did a thing there.
Really? I know there was a couple of movies. There was an older one that I'd watched, and then there was a more recent one.
I watched the more recent one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was really good. They actually, I don't know if this is in your 14 facts or if this was just like a fiction part of the movie, but they basically went from the theory that she could hear the spirits and the spirits would tell her how to build the room in the way that they died.
Okay.
And so she had to build a room per spirit.
Oh.
She had to build a room per spirit and the way that it died and trap the spirit in there, or else it would harass her.
So then could she not open the doors anymore?
No, she had to nail the doors shut.
dude.
And at like the end, there was one spirit that was like super overpowered, and it was like sucking the nails out one by one, and the doors would come flying off. And it's like releasing all the chaos.
Oh my gosh.
It was great though. I really enjoyed it. It was Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren, yes. Yeah. That wasn't in my notes, but I mean, or in like the research that I'd done, but it could have been for sure.
It was a neat like
take on it.
Yeah, neat take.
It's one of the most haunted places in America. The third floor, where the servants lived, is apparently especially active. I'm going to end with some stories from the house that witnesses have talked about. People, because you can go in and buy tickets and tour the house.
Yeah, of course.
So people who do that, they can hear footsteps. They can hear doors opening and shutting on their own. They can hear windows shattering, the whispering of strange disembodied voices, and they'll witness doorknobs in front of them turn on their own when they like either go to a wall or nobody's on the other side. So,
I think Zach actually got pushed down that stairwell that I was talking about.
Really? I'll have to look into that.
It was a crazy episode.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 more little stories. One of them is the Hall of Fires. Some employees who worked at the mansion for Mrs. Winchester are said to have stayed on after their deaths. There are footsteps heard shuffling to and from Mrs. Winchester's room. Her servants, there's an apparition with black hair who is frequently spotted pushing a wheelbarrow.
Why is it always black hair?
I don't know, but
it's always black hair.
Perhaps that labor is what a present-day worker encountered in the Hall of Fires, so named for its many fireplaces. Prior to the mansion opening...
I totally thought that was going a different direction. I was like, okay, so it catches on fire a lot.
No.
It's really, really hot.
Just a lot of fireplaces in there.
Cool.
So, anyway, the next one is Sarah's sealed room. And the 1906 earthquake that destroyed San Francisco also caused serious damage to Mrs. Winchester's house. In fact, she was trapped in a room until her workers were able to set her free. Deeply shaken by her experience, Mrs. Winchester had the room sealed. It stayed that way until last year when the room was opened and added to the tours. One of those tours, a guide gathered participants in the room to explain the history and point out the objects found inside more than 100 years after being sealed. But the guide heard a loud sigh in the hallway and went outside to bring in the straggler. She didn't find any tourists, but did see a small ghostly form gliding around the corner. The guide quickly followed. She didn't see anyone, yet heard another sigh. Perhaps Mrs. Winchester had used the sealed room as a refuge from tourists. So she was probably
pissed off, like,
get
guys
out. This is my safe place. This is my quiet time. And that's from an article called 5 Spooky Tales About the Famous Winchester Mystery House by B. Carnes. So anyway,
that's really cool.
That wraps up that. But
that's creepy.
I would love to visit it and I would love to tour it. So
I think it's so funny you say tour.
I think it's really funny you say July.
Oh, what was it earlier you said? Instead of saying column, you were like callum.
Okay, you've had some mess ups and I even pointed them out. I know
you
earlier too.
Point them out every single
I was quiet earlier. You had one. You can listen for it yourself.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this episode with an interesting, strange, unsolved Facebook page. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay. So in April 2011, a Facebook profile surfaced on 4chan. Now, that's usually like a trolling website.
On what? What is it called?
4chan.
Oh.
It was like a trolling website back in the day, but they had different divisions, and this surfaced under the paranormal section. It was the name Karen Catherine Waldegrave. It was such a strange and rambling profile that 4chan's paranormal board decided to investigate. The profile looks normal at first. It has smiling photos, a seemingly normal home life, which the thing that I was reading was like, it looks like she's married, and the guy is probably 40 years older than her, so I'm going to say that was her dad.
You never know.
We don't judge. No shame.
Yeah.
No shame. Is that the right word?
She could be a little sugar baby.
She could be.
Or they could just genuinely be in love. I don't know.
It's true. Love knows no age.
That's right.
Okay, so she also lists a PhD and other high-profile careers among her achievements on there. And she also says that she speaks in about 7 different languages.
Fancy.
So she's like really, really smart-looking person. I will say the profile picture is really weird looking. It looks like it's from the 1960s.
Oh.
I
thought you were going to be like So you agree. You think you're really pretty. You're like really pretty.
Okay, Regina George. Okay, so this is her profile picture.
She is either a realtor or a lawyer that will help solve all of your cases. Very, very professional.
But it's also kind of like 1950s housewife.
It is.
In a way. Like the essence is there.
But they look like they took it off like a realtor website and made it black and white.
Well, she has more photos like of just her, and they look normal. They don't look anything like that. I'm not sure why she chose that. Maybe it was like out of a newspaper of her achievements or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So once you actually dive into the contents of her posts, things get strange. Her updates, like her status updates, are rambling paragraphs of things that almost make sense, but not quite. Rantings of conspiracies about the CIA and the FBI trying to control her.
Yeah, I feel that.
Family genealogy. She claimed to know the doings of the elite, quote unquote, and several criminal networks as well. Her updates grow even more strange when you realize she replies to herself within seconds, sometimes creating threads of over 300 long comments and posting for 12 hours straight.
Just of her talking to herself?
Yes. Yeah. Like she's the only one in the string. I have to blow my nose. Hold on.
She's the only one.
I'm sick. So some of the replies often melted.
I like how you say often instead of often.
They often melted into aggressive and paranoid comments about killing someone, or that she herself was going to be killed, or that she was being stalked. The posts appeared within seconds of each other, so you could only theorize that maybe she wrote these things ahead of time and then was just copying and pasting her rants to reply quickly, or was she typing so furiously fast that she could post paragraphs within seconds. So they did like a little investigation to it. Some of them suspected it could be the work of something called a Markov chain generator. It's basically where you use this generator to create fake articles and headlines. I think the goal was to gain like popularity and hits. Okay. But I was like, that's not really what Facebook's about. So that theory didn't make much sense to me. But basically the way it works is they use present text. So you feed present like one subject into it, and it starts to predict and create future text, essentially working what's given into like something that mimics human speech.
Okay.
So let me see if I can find, I think I saved a picture of an example of one of the things, because the actual page got deleted a year later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's
not there anymore.
It's not up anymore.
Okay.
Okay. So one of her posts was, maybe Splat should have a brother named Hector as opposed to Achilles, who looked just like his mother. We own him, Hector the cat, and we like him. He is 2.5 years of age and well ready for posted stories to have his character modeled on. I am busy writing my family memoirs and my PhD thesis, history, though. Otherwise, I would take to the genre myself. Reference Budgie the helicopter and Ellen Knit Kroll stories, I guess. How neat, smiley face. And then she responds
like a bot. Yeah.
He goes by my wee baby boy, smiley face, and then replies stories as opposed to any storied character.
That's so weird. Okay. That just doesn't sound like a real person.
I know. It was very, very strange. But it was almost coherent.
Yeah.
You know, that's what was so weird about it. Okay. So beyond those posts, eventually she started like collaging together random images, and it would be like a president shaking someone's hand, and then a picture of her, and then a picture of a wolf, and like all these weird things. I tried to find a picture of it. I couldn't find it. It was in a video is where I originally saw that part. Due to the amount of times she mentioned the CIA in her rants, another theory was that she was a victim of MK Ultra, which was confirmed a CIA mind control program that occurred from 1953 to 1973, and it was actually found to be illegal.
She didn't seem like old enough to have participated in something like that. I mean, unless that picture is...
That is her.
Okay, hold on here.
That's like the last picture she posted of herself.
Okay, definitely old enough to be in that.
Old enough, and you can tell she's changed.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like the happy... Like, she looked like a Nancy.
Yeah.
Like a happy-go-lucky Nancy.
Sure.
Now she looks like...
Margaret.
Yeah.
If your name's Margaret, I'm sure you're very happy and beautiful.
MK Ultra was meant to be used as a way to interrogate people and get information, but it often screwed them up mentally due to the drugs that were given to them.
Okay.
So if this were the case, she could have been trying to expose the government in the best way that she knew how, but it was kind of coming out jumbled up. So that's why she would go on these rants, because she was just trying to get her point across, but it was all up here, and she couldn't make it come out and correspond on, the
Right.
page.
Even though she was like talking about a cat. But I mean, that was just
that
one
was just one
post.
example. Most of the time it was about the CIA, the FBI, family genealogy, the elite, criminal networks. The wildest theory about Karen's page was that it wasn't a page for Karen at all, but a page for spies, assassins, maybe a secret organization like the Illuminati to communicate with one another without being noticed or tracked.
Oh.
The sheer amount of posts on the page and the rambling language meant that many people could be responding to each other in like rapid succession, but carrying on like a cryptic conversation that only they could decipher.
Who found this?
I'm not sure. It got posted to 4chan. I don't know who the original person who found it was.
Huh.
So that was a theory because there were so many posts and so many different, like, if people were logged into this account, they could be like saying stuff to each other. Nobody's going to read through 300 pages of text except 4chan, maybe, and I mean, since it would dissolve into talking about killing someone or stalking someone. So it's like, what if they were just putting all this nonsense right up front?
So that people would hopefully...
So people would tune out.
Yeah.
Because you've seen those memes where it's like, my husband is so nice. He went to the store for me and he's just the best baby boo ever. Okay, now that he's not rating this.
Yes.
And it's that kind of thing. Like, what if that was happening?
Yeah.
The most logical theory, however, was that she suffered from a mental illness like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Where they experience rapid thoughts, a condition called hypergraphia, which is like the compulsion to write and draw, even though it doesn't actually turn out anything valuable.
Because it's just like fragments of thoughts are in there.
Yeah, it's nonsensical.
Yeah.
And those people can also have paranoid delusions.
Yeah, okay.
But I hate to say that about schizophrenic people because I know schizophrenic people who act totally normal and don't struggle with that. So it's really, really hard to know exactly what was happening there.
Unless she was just struggling and untreated or,
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't look as put together as she did.
Right.
She looks like there's been a toll taken on
something's
her.
happened in her life.
Yeah, she's seen some shit.
Yes.
The page was taken down a year later and no one knows what happened to her. People tried to keep up with her to find her. They couldn't find her.
Huh. Well.
So what was that blip?
Yeah, that is very odd. Unsolved. Unsolved things always just leave me like, what?
I know. But the fact that MK Ultra existed.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't shock me. But
I mean, it doesn't shock me, but people are shocked about other things that we've talked about, like the
True.
Illuminati and come
Yeah.
on. There were mind control experiments
Yeah,
in the CIA.
It's messed up, but
Super messed up.
I don't want to say anything more because
we're already on a hit list somewhere.
Make me so paranoid, but anyway.
I had the Illuminati try to follow my personal Instagram account the other day.
I know, that's so scary.
If somebody's trolling me, screw you.
Yes, you can suck it. Well, on that note, I hope you enjoyed our oddities, or whatever we're going to call this, our strange stories. Some of them were pretty unnerving. So you might have a difficult time sleeping after that.
Does anybody actually have a difficult time sleeping anymore? Oh well. I've been told that it's a good seller for our name. Like when people are trying to push our podcast on people and they're like, it's called Good Luck Sleeping. And it's just like, whoa.
And then they have these like,
and then they listen to us and they're like, what the
I'm not going to sleep because I'm just going to stay up thinking about how confusing you guys are. You guys are crazy. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed it. I learned some things, and I really think that you guys should try and visit some of those houses if you're in the area. Guys, what you're hearing right now is I don't know how to end this, okay? I'm like stuck. Check out our houses, research the stuff on your own. Let us know what you find out, okay? And
let us know if you know of any unsolved weird things, because I thought those were really cool, even though Rachel didn't.
I did too. I thought they were interesting. You
what
guys
is this becoming?
might have a difficult time sleeping now. Drink your chamomile tea.
Get your comfy pillow.
Get your essential oils out, and good luck sleeping.
But don't try to sell them to us. Good luck sleeping.